Hi! How's everybody doing tonight? Doing good, hopefully. I'm filming this the same night, and it's going to be down the line as I was happy for the purchase with this. Like I said, it's January 29th, sorry, July 29th. How did I say January? I don't know. Got thrown off. But yeah, so it's the same day that I'm filming the film, the video, whatever you want to call it. And I mentioned I was going to explain why I like movies like Tokyo Gore Police, all these other ones. To me, it's like it's so out there and so bizarre. I mean, it's like if you watch Aliens versus Ninja, right? It's just funny how you see this almost like how they call it Super Sentai or whatever, like what they take for Power Rangers, and they use it. By the way, if any of you ever spend a long time watching Power Rangers. Side note, unless you actually saw like them with the helmets off, yeah, apparently they were all guys underneath, including for the women. Yeah, this kind of disturbed me. But yeah, just let you guys know, gals know, in case you know. But anyways, so it is funny to watch, like the people in these rubber suits. It really is, but it's interesting when you watch stuff like Tokyo Gore Police and that it is like a weird slasher film, but so much over the top. Go on to YouTube, watch Frankenstein Girl versus Dracula Girl, Vampire Girl, because there's a scene in there that is so outlandish. It's, it's like any of these movies. The copious amounts of blood that you see are just unreal, and that's what part of what makes it. It's kind of like slasher movies, but funny, you know. I remember when I first saw, I think it was Robo Geisha was the first one like I actually saw because I'd watched the Angry Video Game Nerds review of it, and I was like, okay, James Rolfe, he did like the Halloween thing. Um, it was an interesting thing. That I'm like, okay, maybe I should watch this. So hopped on to Netflix. This was at the time they still had it on there, and I actually liked it. It was an interesting movie. So after that, I watched Tokyo Gore Police. There was one something about baseball. I'd have to look at him. This like kid basically is in and out of reform schools. He had accidentally killed a family member because he has such an incredible pitch. And there was that Machine Girl, Tokyo Gore Police. Tokyo Gore Police is what really did it. It was like, wow, this is insane. Psycho Gothic Lolita. That movie, holy hell, that blew my mind with some of the stuff they did. Um, I saw followed by that. I was like, was it Zombie Slayers? But don't ask me if I actually pronounce it. And it was just like it was such an interesting experience because I'm not really a big fan of horror films. I'm sorry, there's some that I do like, there's some that I don't. But it's just growing up, I never really watched them. I think like one of the two that I really remember that stuck out in my mind was Serpent of the Rainbow. And I talked about that movie. And I read the book, and it's just such a weird experience. What was it? Oh, God. Nightmare on Elm Street, The Dream Warriors. That was in watered down version because it was on TV. And I'm just sitting there going, I don't get what's so scary about this. I'm like, why did people find this scary? And maybe because it was on TV. I don't know. I've seen a couple, well, bits and pieces like some of their Nightmare on Elm Street stuff. But it's just like it never phased me. But and out of all the bunch, like Tokyo Gore Police, holy crap, this is stuff that they do, and there's nuts. Um, I need to get to watching. Oh, what was it? Corpse Party. If you've never heard of it, it's like a video game. There's a second movie that I want to watch. When after I watch this one, Book of Shadows, it kind of like follows the games. Book of Shadows was the second one, and what I've seen of the first one, like, oh wow, this is gonna be insane. But there's such also a difference in, what we have versus what they have, because like we took and Americanized The Ring, right? Yeah, it was made fun of, but at the same time, when you look at the stuff and you start watching like the Japanese counterparts, you're like, how did they ruin this? I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe it's just because I'm kind of like numb to this stuff, the American stuff. I'm trying to think. What was it? 13 Ghosts. I'm sitting there like, this is some of the most people would just consider the most disgusting stuff. I'm like eating spaghetti. I'm just like, this isn't bad. Like, what's people's problem with it? You know. There is a horror movie that I want to say called The Legend of Hell House. Messed up book. Want to see the movie? If I can track it down. It's just I don't know why American horror, when you divide it into like slasher and that, it gets kind of, for me, boring, because it feels like the same thing over and over. And I know people who love slasher films, like you have the 80s cheesy horror movies and that. And I've seen a couple of those, but I don't know. It's like I said, I just think it's because I never watched slasher movies as a kid, any horror movies really as a kid. Wasn't allowed to, and other people did, and was like, what's the point? And maybe because I was just older when I first saw, full one, maybe that's the problem. I definitely do recommend checking any of these movies out. Um, what is it? Meatball and Murder Machine. I want to watch that one. Tubi has the 3 other Hatchet movies. I saw Hatchet 1, and I've been wanting to see the other 3. Thank you to Vampire Mike for making me want to see that. So yeah, so there's just a lot of stuff. Well, I don't need you stepping on the keyboard, you kooky critter. She wants to step on the keyboard, and that'll stop filming. Or she'll step on the power button, and that'll stop filming. She's good for that. Um, so yeah, I mean, that's all I really have to say about that. In the future, I'll talk about some of these films a little bit more detail after I rewatch them. I still want to talk about Journey to the West. I need to finish watching the second one. It's, that's the thing with some of these movies. Journey to the West is like this long epic tale. I mean, it's been turned into TV shows, a lot of different movies in that, and they're really sarcastic productions. If you ever want to see basic like chunks of it, like explained in so much detail, watch their series on it. I'm hoping they get back into it. Red's been doing a great job on talking about it. I wanted to read the books that are based off of, but it's so it's longer than some of the Stephen King novels. It's just huge, a massive undertaking, which I don't know if I'm going to try to take on or not, but yeah. So that it is, everybody. I'll talk to y'all later. Take care, and bye.